Okay, good morning everybody, and Chazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday morning as we are studying together Parashat Vayakhel. So here we go. Parashat Vayakhel, let's read together some Pesukim, and we'll see some very nice Rabbeinu Bahiyas. So here we go. Parashat tells us again about the commandment that Moshe tells now the Jewish people. This is the relay to the Jewish people of building the Mishkan. Okay, so that means, again, God already told Moshe on the mountain about the building of the Mishkan. He told him on Har Sinai the commandment to build the Mishkan and the materials that were needed. Now Moshe comes off of the mountain and he's giving over all of that information to the Jewish people. So please turn to chapter 30, what are we up to? 35. Here we go. So Moshe gathers the Jewish people and he tells them, first of all, you got to keep Shabbat, okay? Then he tells them, I need everyone to donate materials. Whoever wants, whatever you could bring. We need zahav, gold, silver, copper, techelet. We need materials, argaman, okay? We need leathers. We need wood. We need oil. We need besamim. We need avnei shoham. We need the stones, the gems. Remember we had that whole class last week on the gemstones. Okay. And also need people that know how to work with these materials and to weave and to sew and to build. We need builders. Okay, and we need to build. What are we going to build with all of these things? The Mishkan, the tents, the covering, the beams, the pillars, the supports. We need to build an aron. We need to build poles. We need to build a cover. We need to build a shulchan. We need the menorah, the mizbeah. He's giving them all of what's needed. He's giving them the plan. The plan. This is the blueprint. Okay. Vayetzeu kol adat bnei Israel lifnei Moshe. Okay, everybody. Chazak Baruch. This is what we need, and whoever could help us out, good luck. Well, they all leave. Vayavou kol ish asher nisa'u lebo. All of a sudden, everyone comes back one at a time. Each one whose spirit moved him, and they start bringing donations. And the pasuk says, Vayavou ha'anashim al hanashim. The men come on the women. What does that mean? They come on the women. Interesting phrase. They come on top of the women. Ha'anashim al hanashim. Maybe it means with the women. Okay. They bring banezem, betaba'at, kumaz, different jewelry, nose rings and earrings and kol keli zahav. Okay. They come with different jewelries. They needed gold, right? So they got gold. And they bring techelet and argaman. Like we said, they needed material. They brought materials. Some people brought the thing. Each one brought their own item. And who brought the gemstones? Vehanesiim heviu et avnei hashoham ve'et avnei hamiluim la'efod v'lachoshen. The nesiim are the ones who brought the gemstones. Okay. Kol ish ve'isha, every man and woman brought whatever they wanted to bring. Beautiful. So here we have very nice psukim, very simple, about the Mishkan. Let us turn today to the first of a couple of Rabbeinu Bahiyas that we're going to do. Pasuk we just read, Vayavou ha'anashim al hanashim. Okay, so let us open. Here we go, chapter 35, Pasuk 22. Okay, 35:22. What does that mean? The men came on top of the women. Interesting phrase. Doesn't really make sense. Okay, so let's see how Rabbeinu Bahiyah wants to explain this. Okay. Here we go. First, I guess let's see Rashi. What does Rashi have to teach us on this? The men came on top of the women. So Rashi says, Im hanashim. Right? He came with the women. Smuchin alehem. They came together with the women. Okay. Again, I don't know why you have to tell me that. But okay. Hah, what is a hah? It says they brought hah and nezem, taba'at vekumaz. Okay. Hah, he says, hu tachshit shel zahav agol, natun al hazeroa vehu atzamid. A hah is what we call a bracelet. Okay, a bracelet. Okay. Nezem, a nose ring. Taba'at, a ring. Kumaz, what's a kumaz? He says, kli zahav keneged oto makom. Okay. That's a gold piece of jewelry that women used to wear on their private part. Okay? So that's a gold piece of jewelry that they used to wear on their private part. Okay, so the women brought all of these different pieces of gold to donate. Fine. Let's see now, Rabbeinu Bahya. Here we go. Vayavohu ha'anashim al hanashim. Lashon al hanashim. What does it mean that they came following the women? Yoreki hanashim ba'u sham betchila. Means that the women came actually first. The men came on top of the women, meaning the women were there first. V'ka'asher ba'u ha'anashim. When the men came to donate to Moshe's tent, ready to donate all of their gold, all of their jewelry, right? We have the big, we have a fundraising. We need to build a house for God. The men wake up bright and early, ready to donate, and all of a sudden they get to Moshe's tent. Matzu sham hanashim. They find the women were already online. Heviu sham nedvatam tehila. You know, like you go to Black Friday sale, you go to wait online, and you see people are already there from the day before, waiting online from 5 p.m. the night before to get $200 off of a television, right? So the men came bright and early, and they saw there's already a line. Women beat them. That's what it means. Vayavohu ha'anashim al hanashim. It means that the men came after the women. They already saw the women beat them to it. So why is that significant? Vezot ma'ala gdola b'nashim is telling you such a big level of the women. Look at this high level of them, of the women. Because when it came to the golden calf, the men said we need to collect for the golden calf. What happened? The women give to the golden calf. They said, what are you talking about? We're not giving you our jewelry. Right? The pasuk says back in last week, take off the earrings in your wives, and in your children's ears. So get me the earring from your wives and your children. But what does it say? But it says that the men gave the earrings that were in their ears. Men back then wore earrings. So the men gave the earrings in their ears. So they didn't give the earrings from their wives. Why not? Because the women didn't want to give. The wives said, we're not giving our jewelry. That's what Shlomo HaMelech hints when he says in Kohelet chapter 7, Adam ahad me'elef matzati. Out of 1,000, I found one. The isha bechol ele lo matzati. But the women, I found none. So what does that mean? He means there were no women that were participating in ele. Bechol ele, in all of ele is hinting to ele Elohecha Yisrael. This is your God Israel. When it came to the egel, to ele, I didn't find a single woman. No females to be found in Chet HaEgel. So the women didn't give their jewelry. So you would say that's a great thing, no? But however, the truth is you don't know yet. Why? Maybe the women didn't give their jewelry because they are very connected to their jewelry. Maybe they want to flex their jewelry to their friends. Maybe they like their jewelry because they want to show it off. Maybe the reason they didn't give it is not so much because of the egel. Maybe it's just because they like their jewelry. When it came now to a mitzvah, to donating to the Mishkan, they ran and they wanted to give their jewelry with tremendous devotion. Even though it's natural for a lady to enjoy her jewelry. Women have a big relationship. They're very connected to their jewelry. But they overcame it. Right? So here, our parasha is revealing that when last week they didn't, sometimes you call a guy to come join us. We're going to somewhere inappropriate. Guy says, nah, I'm tired. Okay, you're tired. Very good. He didn't go to the club. He didn't go to a party. He didn't go to do the wrong thing. Whatever it was. Say, okay, very good. Good for him. But the truth is, you don't know good for him. Maybe the reason he goes is because the guy is sleepyhead. Maybe the guy's a lazy guy. He never gets off. He's always playing Xbox. He doesn't go anywhere. All of a sudden, you call him a day later. You say, we need someone to come with us to cemetery. We need minyan. The guy says, minyan? I'm coming. He drops the Xbox. He runs. He jumps to go help, to go do mitzvah, to go answer Kaddish. Now you're revealing that the reason the guy didn't go party is not so much because he's lazy. It's because he doesn't believe in partying. So now the fact that he gets up to go to shul or to go pray, to go do chesed, that actually gives a lot more credence to the fact that he didn't go to do the sin. So that's what he's saying over here. The fact that the women didn't give to the egel doesn't prove anything yet. But now that they also gave to the Mishkan, it shows you, wow. So it's not it reveals that when they didn't give to the Egel, it's because they didn't believe in the Egel. It's not simply because they love their jewelry. Because if they love their jewelry, then they wouldn't have given it later to the Mishkan either. So you see over here another lesson of what we always speak about is balance in life. To always have that balance, to know where I should use something and where I shouldn't use something. The women knew gold, I shouldn't use it for the Egel. But there is a time that I should use my gold to give to the Mishkan. Okay, beautiful. And in the Midrash of Rabbi Eliezer, we're told, Natana Kadosh Baruch Hu lenashim scharan. Women were given reward for this. Ba'olam hazeh u'ba'olam haba. In this world and in the next world. Why? This day, this occurred on the first of the month. Remember, when was the Mishkan built? On the first of the month. And therefore the women were rewarded. Ba'olam hazeh, in this world, shemishamrot roshei chodashim. Women were blessed with Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is a ladies' holiday. Okay? Ladies' holiday. They observe that day in the sense that, halachically speaking, a lady's entitled to tell her husband on Rosh Chodesh that I don't want to do certain chores. Okay? So ladies, you could play this card. Okay? I don't know how your husband is going to feel about that now. But, okay, some ladies, they take more than Rosh Chodesh. They take the whole month off. Okay, either way. So, Olam Hazeh, they were given Rosh Chodesh. Ba'olam haba, in the next world, hen atidot leithadesh. They are going to be renewed. Okay, in whatever sense of the word that is. Itihayat hametim. Okay. Now, this is Rabbeinu Bahye, beautiful pasuk on the women donating to the Mishkan. Okay. Now the truth is, there is another Rabbeinu Bahye talking about women in the same parasha. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's jump a few psukim. The chapter now, same chapter, pasuk 27. It says the Nesi'im hevi'u et avnei hashoam. So the women brought the jewelry. The princes, Nesi'im hevi'u, what did they bring? The gemstones. So let's see, what is that teaching us? Why are the princes the ones bringing the gemstones? So he explains. Lefi shederech hanasi shemitga'eh hala'am. It's general nature that a prince acts superior to the people. Right? When you're in a position of authority, when you're maybe wealthier, when you're higher in status, in stature, when you're higher, it's easy for a person to become a little bit arrogant and to look down at the people that are lower than him. That's why God says to the king, "Lebilti rum levavo mehav." You can't look down at other people. That's why the king is very censored. He's limited. He has a lot of sanctions on the king. He can't have a lot of horses. He can't have a lot of wives. He can't have too much money, because this can make a person arrogant. And you see people, when they have a lot, it's easy for them to walk into a venue or to a situation and to look down at everyone else. Who are you guys? I have more than you. I'm better than you. And to forget that really, God gave it to you. No difference between you and me. God He chose to give it to you. He chose to not give it to me. Right? So because a Nasi is very, sometimes arrogant, therefore, therefore the princes had to bring stones, to go on Aharon's lev, because yitkapperu, by this they'll get atonement, al gov alabam, on the hubris, on the high, haughty, arrogant heart. Yeah? So that's why they brought the stones as an atonement, because the stones go over the heart, so you need an atonement for your arrogant heart. Okay. That's why it says veha nesiim. It says hey. Okay, meaning, and it says ha shoham. Kilomar avnei hashoham ve'avnei hameluim shehasru Israel. You're bringing these stones, the stones that the Jews didn't bring. You guys need to bring because of your you feel like you're significant. Okay. The kavanat nesiim. Now it's interesting because the nesiim, they brought gemstones, right? That's very generous. However, kavanat nesiim hayta she'itnadavu hakol rishona. You should know that originally their plan was that let everyone bring whatever materials are needed, and yashlimu hem aharkach, we'll bring what we call the delta, the gap, right? Let's say a shul needs $1 million. So they call a very wealthy guy. They say, listen, we're collecting for the shul. Could you help us? So the guy says, you know what? Do your phone calls, call who you need, right? Speak to who you need to speak to. When you're done making all your phone calls, call me up. Whatever you're missing $500,000, you're missing 200,000, whatever you're missing, I promise I'll take care of it. But first, do your due diligence. Go out and try to see how much you need, get what you can from the layman, from the average Joe, and then call me up when you're done, and I'll see if I can help you. Whatever you need, I will help you. I guarantee. That's what the Nesi'im said. Nesi'im said, let the Jews all come and bring, and when they're done, we'll bring whatever is missing. What would you say is such an attitude? What would you call such a guy? Wow, so generous, right? Guy, Sadiq, willing to take whatever is the remainder and cover it. He says, even though their intention was good, it's actually considered a sin. It's a lacking. Why? Because at the end of the day, you're relying and assuming that there's going to be something left to bring. However, what if the Jews end up bringing everything? What if they bring what if there's no money left to collect at the end? What if the $1 million is fully covered by everyone else? So you thought that we need you because you'll bring at the end what's remaining. What if there's nothing remaining? You see, the Nesi'im made a big mistake over here. The Nesi'im, they make the mistake that sometimes we make. And that is that sometimes in life we forget, and we carry this attitude that God needs us. Judaism needs us, Torah needs us, organizations need us. And the truth is, we have to realize that, no. It's not that God needs us, it's that we need God. It's not that we need the tzedakah organizations need us. No. We need to give tzedakah. We need them. They're supporting us. When we give, we're giving ourselves an extended lease on life, on parnasah. They say a beautiful example. I'll give you an example. They say one time there was a log floating in the sea. There's this person drowning. His ship capsized. He grabs onto the log, and he starts holding onto it for dear life. Finally, the guy comes, and he floats safely to shore. When he arrives to shore, some guy, he sees him. He says, "Wow, you saved that log." So the man smiles. He says, "Oh, you fool. I didn't save the log saved me." Our rabbis tell us, Etz Chaim hi lamahazikim ba. The Torah is a tree of life. What does it mean it's a tree of life? It's an Etz Chaim. It's a log. If you want to live, you grab onto the Torah. You're not saving Torah. You're not supporting Torah. You're not helping Torah. Torah is supporting you. Torah is helping you. This is what a person must realize. This is what the Nesi'im forgot. The Nesi'im thought, we're supporting it. If they realize that this is not something that I'm doing, but an opportunity. You don't wait for opportunity to fall on your lap. You don't wait to see if there's more opportunity left. Opportunity you grab. There's a mitzvah I could give. Let me give first. It's a very nice idea you have. You want to give whatever is remaining, I understand. But you're also forgetting that this is something that you need. And what if there's nothing left? Then you're not going to give. You're missing. Hafetz Chaim one time, we went collecting for the yeshiva. A guy pulled out a checkbook. He said, "Rabbi, I want to give you a check for the whole thing." Hafetz Chaim said, "I'm sorry, I can't accept that." He said, "Why not?" He said, "Because there's a lot of people in the whole town that they give $10, $50, $100, and this is their connection to Torah. This is their lifeline. If you give the whole thing, they don't get a connection anymore. They're going to be losing out on the opportunity." Hafetz Chaim, he viewed people giving to Torah as their opportunity. Not, I need you to give me, but you also need to give. This is like food. If I'm giving out, imagine there's a pandemic, imagine there's a shortage, and I'm standing online, I say, okay, I'm giving out eggs, there's no milk, I'm giving out eggs, free, milk. Do you wait and say, okay, I'll come at the end, and I'll take whatever's left? Of course not. You run, you jump, you get first online, because you know you need this. Person that views tzedakah as something that I need. Tzedakah is Torah in my life. I need to give it. I'm the one gaining when I give. I'm the one gaining when I learn. I'm the one gaining when I support. I'm not saving the log saving me. When a person understands that, say, I want to jump on the opportunity. So the Nesi'im a little bit were lacking. This is a punishment. We learn from here that a person, when they could do a mitzvah and they don't, it's a lack, it's a chisaron. They're missing something. That's why the word nesi'im is spelled missing. It says nesi'im without yuds. There's a little bit of spirituality missing in their actions. Motivations were maybe nice, but they misunderstood. They misunderstand what giving is. That's why nesi'im is spelled without yuds in this pasuk. Chapter 11, look it up. 35, pasuk 27. Nesi'im spelled without a yud. Okay. Gives a very interesting, another second interpretation here. Yesh perish. Some explain, Ki avnei hashoam, where did these gemstones come from? You think about it. Where did they get rubies and emeralds, jades? Where did they get these in the desert? He says, Bederech nes ba'u leIsrael. They came miraculous way. Why? In order to have these stones, Hevi'u mananei kavod, the clouds of glory brought them letoch ahaolo shel Moshe. They came down in the clouds of glory. How do you say clouds? Clouds. There's a word to say ananim, right? But there's another word for clouds. Nesi'im. The pasuk says in Psalms, Ma'ale nesi'im miktzeh haaretz. Right? He makes clouds rise from the end of the earth. So you see the word nesi'im could also mean clouds. So the nesi'im brought the avnei shoham, not the princes, but the clouds brought the avnei hashoham. Beautiful. Okay, fine. So here we saw already two Rabbeinu Bahye's juicy stuff on our parasha. Number one, the women coming before the men, showing you how much they valued not their jewelry but God, the mitzvot. Number two, the princes and their delay in bringing the gemstones. Final Rabbeinu Bahye for today. And we're doing a double header this week with two parashiot, Vayakhel, Pekudei. So that's why we're going to try to rush it so we can talk remaining days a little bit about next parasha, the lean ended. Okay? Ben Marot. So here we go. Let's fast forward, chapter 38. Chapter 38. And it says that they started building the Mizbeach, they started building all the different utensils. Okay? Pasuk 8. Vaya'as et hakiyor nehoshet ve'et kano nehoshet. So he makes also one of the utensils, people forget about this one, is the basin, the kiyor, the sink that was used to wash every morning. The Kohanim would come in, they would wash their hands and their feet from the sink. Yeah, today maybe you see people doing Kohanim, they wash their hands before they bless us every morning. So the Kohanim had to wash every morning when they entered the Beit HaMikdash. So the kiyor, wow, very nice. Kiyor. What was the kiyor made of? What was it made out of? Plastic, lucite, right? What was it made out of? So he says, let's read the pasuk. Vaya'as et hakiyor nehoshet ve'et kano nehoshet b'marot hatzoveot. It was made through the marot, the mirrors. Hatzoveot. Asher tzavu peda'ol mohen. Wow. Made through mirrors that the women donated through groves. Okay, interesting. What does that mean, groves? What does that have to do over here? But let's see again Rabbeinu Bahye. He says, Hayu marot ha'ele, these mirrors, first of all, what kind of mirrors are they? He says they were nehoshet kalal mutzhav me'od. Very shiny copper, highly polished copper. If you ever saw silver, gold, any metal that's very polished, you can see a reflection, right? So the kiyor was made out of copper, but very highly polished copper. That was, in essence, you were able to see your reflection. The truth is, he asked an interesting question. Why wasn't this brought with the materials when we saw earlier, all the materials that were needed? It says that they brought, right? The women brought nezem, tabat. It says they brought their bracelets, they brought their everything. But it doesn't say that they brought mirrors. Where'd the mirrors go? He says, those were gold. He didn't want to mix with the gold, copper. Therefore, the copper has its own mentioning, a different list. Another reason. The gold, it was really all melted and combined with other gold. Meaning the women brought gold, right? But what kind of gold? They brought gold of jewelry. Their bracelets, their earrings, their nose rings, their private part covering, right? They brought all this gold. And he said, but it was mixed in with other gold, right? But he says this mirrors, hamarot na'aseh mehen kli meyuhad. It wasn't mixed in with anything else. They used it and they made their own vessel called, like we said, the kiyor, the basin. And that's what our rabbis say. Shaya Moshe Rabbeinu mo'ez b'marot. Moshe Rabbeinu was actually in the beginning very disgusted, and he pushed away these mirrors. Because women use the mirror. What do they use the mirror for? To look at themselves, filled with vanity, filled with immorality. Mirrors are used to beautify yourself. Mirror, you can use a mirror for God. It's nishef, ugly, right? It's perverted. What are you using? Imagine a lady bringing her mirror has on it her lipstick, her mascara, all these things that she's now using to now give to Hashem. What kind of thing is that? He says, however, Moshe Rabbeinu pushed them away. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but God says to Moshe, Elu havivim lefanai min hakol. Moshe, don't disregard these mirrors. Actually, they're more beloved to me than everything else. Shal yedehen, because through the mirrors, hemidu hanashim tzevaot rabot b'Mizrahi. The women had in Egypt many, many children. Our rabbis explain it more in depth. Rashi brings this, that every night in Egypt, the men would come from slavery in the fields. They would come exhausted. They would come tired. They would want to go straight to bed. They wouldn't want to be intimate. They wouldn't want to have children. They couldn't have children. They were tired. You know what the wives did? The wives would use these mirrors and beautify themselves. And they would make sure when their husbands came home to look beautiful. And they would say, honey, I look better than you. And they would arouse interest in their husbands. And then they would have children. And there would be a future for the Jewish people. God says, Moshe, you look at these copper mirrors and you see disgusting. I look at them and I see holiness. I see Jewish people. And first of all, the first lesson is that in life, so much of everything that we do is the thought. The thought is really what counts, right? If you have something that maybe looks not nice, but the thought is kadosh, that's a very holy thing, right? Now, why didn't Moshe get disgusted from the kumaz? He says the kumaz, the gold jewelry covering the private part, that's also disgusting. How come Moshe didn't throw that back in their face? How come God didn't need to come and say, no, Moshe, this is also beloved to me? Moshe was fine accepting the kumaz, but he wasn't fine accepting the mirrors. Why? He says, and the truth is the kumaz should be more disgusting because it's more connected to the private part. He says the reason is, because when it comes to the kumaz, the gold, it was already mixed in with all the other gold. It was melted in, so it didn't have a distinct look. No one was able to say, "Oh, that's the kumaz." It melted. It was combined. It was combined with the other gold, so it lost its original identity. But over here, the copper remained the copper from the beginning. So in a way, a lady would come to the temple. She would see, "Oh, that's my mirror. That's what I used to use in the bedroom." So that's why Moshe was more bothered by the copper than by the kumaz. And therefore, God had to calm Moshe down and say, don't worry. You see pervertedness, I see holiness. Now you already know, he says, ki ha-kiyor, in general, the kiyor, what was the kiyor used for? We said earlier to wash your hands, right? But it's actually also what else? Lasum shalom ben ish leisho is also to bring peace between husband and wife, right? Domestic peace. How? Because from there they would take the water lehashkot leisha shekinela ba'ala v'nistera. From there they would use water to give a lady to drink who her husband doubted if she was moral, if she was faithful. And you see over here the kiyor again coming to not only bring shalom between husband and wife, but its origins was really the shalom bayit that the ladies used to create love between them and their husbands. Okay? Now he quotes over here, he ends off quoting a wild Ibn Ezra. That's really the opposite of what we saw till now. Till now we saw that the mirrors were a sign of maybe perversion. But look what he quotes, the Ibn Ezra. Hacham Rabbi Avraham. He quotes Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra. Perash explains, Ki hanashim ha'ele, that these women, hitnadvu amarot, who donated the mirrors, hayu prushot, vesarot mita'avot, these were women that now avoided all physical attractions of the world. Hayu avdot Hashem barach. He says, you know why they donated the mirror? Because they no longer needed them. Okay? He says these are women that they decided to live a life of abstinency and devoid of aesthetics and asceticism. So they gave all of the mirrors, basically saying, we don't need these anymore. We're more religious. It's like a lady who's getting rid of her not sanua clothing, right? She gets more religious. She gets rid of inappropriate clothing, all the things that maybe she once upon a time wore that she no longer will wear because she no longer has a need for them. You know, I'm not going to wear any more skirts that are so short. I'm not going to wear any more clothing that's maybe so tight or so showing. So the women gave all of these things. Women gave all of these things, and this is their way of showing. This is their way of showing that we're no longer connected to this world. Right? That's what Ibn Ezra says. And what does it mean? According to the first opinion, it means that we created many children. He says, look what it means. It means not many children. It means that now we have many people online waiting to donate the gold. Okay? Fine. Either way, I think, this is, my friends, really wild mahloket between the Ibn Ezra and Rashi. Ibn Ezra says that these mirrors were no longer needed, right? They decided to live more holy spiritual life. Rashi says, no, these are mirrors that women needed. They wanted them to live a life of maybe perversion, but they decided to give it up anyways. Right? Very extreme mahloket. And even that, God says, take them, Moshe, take them, because they're holy. I see intention. You see things. I see thoughts. What was the thought? But not only that, the Lubavitcher Rabbi says that there's a lot of literature on the kavanah, on the intention that people should have during intimacy. Yeah, because the same way there's physical DNA, there's the genes, but there's also spiritual DNA, there's the psychological DNA. When husband and wife are together, the thoughts that they're thinking in the moment of intimacy could have a tremendous impact on hashpa'ah, influence, on what the child's going to look like, right? What the child's going to spiritually look like. Yeah? Physically, I have blue eyes, blonde hair, right? But spiritually, what is he going to look like? He's going to look like the thoughts that you have during intimacy. And therefore, Moshe thought these are impure mirrors. But then God says, but look at all the holy Jewish children that came out of this. If the children are holy, it shows you what? It shows you that the thoughts were holy. It shows you that the thoughts that the mirrors were used for were holy thoughts. Now, in general, it's an interesting idea that Moshe couldn't see this. Moshe didn't see holy thoughts. Men, you should know, interesting idea, men are able to have a physical relationship without having a spiritual or emotional attachment, right? A guy in general is able to be, even with a lady, he's not so attached to him. Guys are physical in that sense. Women, in order for women to be connected to even her husband physically, she could only do that if she's connected to him spiritually, only if she's connected to him emotionally, right? If a lady doesn't feel close to her husband, She doesn't want to be with him physically. So Moshe sees something physical over here. He says a physical connection. But God says, no. These are physical, but there's a tremendous spiritual energy connected to these physical things. By the way, what was the kiyor used for? The mirrors were used for. It was used for the kiyor, for the basin. What do you do with the basin? You wash. You wash your hands because you're impure, because you're dirty. You only get dirty, my friends, when you involve and engage in the physical world. A person that stays disconnected their whole life, you don't get dirty like that. You want to stay on a mountain, you'll never become tameh, you'll never see inappropriate things, you'll never get dirty physically, spiritually, nothing. So you want to live a life of, again, just abstinency and live alone, you could do that. But guess what? That's not Judaism. In Judaism, people get dirty. People get their hands dirty, so to speak. They need the kiyor, but that's the message. The message is that it's not our job to just disengage from the world, run away into our own little corner. And this is really what the Lubavitcher Rebbe taught. You see all of his followers, they go out into the world, wherever they are, putting on tefillin for people, helping people. It's an amazing thing that you would think, let me learn, let me focus on myself, and the heck with everyone, I'm just going to focus on my own growth. But they're not. They give up from their own growth, and they help other people grow. You know, I was getting a haircut the other day. My barber told me he has right outside of his shop, he has Chabad comes every Friday, these few kids, and they put a table, and they put tefillin on people. And random people, they ask hundreds of people. They have no shame. So much courage they have. And they get 5-10 a day to help the guy put tefillin. And he says, you know what, it works. There's one guy now that he comes every week just to the stand, out of his way. And he says, you know, I don't put tefillin all week, but I'm going to put now every Friday because of you guys. And he comes every Friday straight to the stand. And he puts tefillin. Okay? So God says, you could take a mirror. What is a mirror? You could take a mirror and you could use it for something holy. You could take physical, right? You could take something like a mirror. You could take something that's food. You could take something that's materialistic. And you could use it for kiyor. You could use it for holiness. That's our job. Our job is not to disengage. It's to be proactive in the world. That means sometimes getting dirty. But don't worry, God says you can wash your hands from that dirtiness, from that. You can get clean. Okay? And this is one more idea for today. This is the difference between mirror and glass. Mirror and glass really is the same thing. It's really a sheet of glass. What's the only difference? Glass, you see straight through. Mirror, you don't see through. Why? Because there's a sheet of silver. There's something blocking it. Yeah? You see, glass allows you to look forward. Glass, there's two types of relationships. There's a relationship in life that you are in love. You have clear vision. You can see forward, right? You're in love with your spouse. You're in love with your job. You're in love with your life. You're in love with yourself. Everything's great. Full steam ahead. LG, life's great. That's glass. Beautiful. But sometimes can't see forward. There's something blocking. Something's blocking my marriage. Something's blocking my relationship with my family, with myself. Something's blocking my parnasah. Something's blocking, and I can't go forward. So in those moments, we have to realize it's an amazing opportunity. When something's blocking the mirror, what do you see? You don't see forward, but what do you see? The glass. You don't see forward, but you see yourself. When something's blocking you in life, it's an amazing opportunity to start introspecting, to look within. Sometimes you're moving forward so fast that actually you forget to look in. We're really escaping. Sometimes you could go the whole thing about the Seder. What's the Seder? The Seder is an amazing opportunity to introspect, to talk to ourselves, our children about freedom. But some people, they come to the Seder so prepared. So many Dvar Torahs, so many Chidushim. They have 20 books lined up on the Haggadah. They have the Haggadah of this rabbi, Haggadah of that rabbi, and the Belzer, and the Malbim, and the Rosh Yeshiva's Haggadah, and everyone's Haggadah. And they have 1,000 Divrei Torah, and they're moving so fast that they miss the whole point of the Seder. The whole Seder becomes Dvar Torahs, and instead of looking in, they use the Dvar Torahs as a way of escaping their slavery that they're in. So sometimes in life, Hashem puts something blocking. Sometimes we're moving forward too fast that we're actually forgetting what we're here to do. So God puts something to block ourselves. An amazing opportunity to, instead of looking out, to look in. Right? To look within. That confrontation, when you confront an obstruction in life, it actually opens you up to an even higher level. Right? You open up to a higher level. That is the idea of the matzah. Matzah, you take it, you break it in half. But later on, you say, we need that broken piece. Bring it back. Sometimes the broken piece, the Rabbi said, there's nothing more whole than a broken heart. Sometimes it's the broken pieces of life that allow us to actually climb forward, that allow us a broken relationship, allows us to actually find that it was always broken. I just never saw that. Now I'm actually to build a higher, stronger, deeper connection with my spouse. And like they say, right? When something's whole, when something's solid, light cannot penetrate. Only when there's cracks can light come in. So sometimes in life, when there's a crack, when there's a blockage, when there's something obstructing our way, our path, then we're able to actually look inward. And we're able to look inward, and we're able to climb to even higher levels than before. Either way, I think there's a lot to talk about on today's Rabbi Vayakhel we saw. But enough for now, we'll stop over here. I hope everyone has an amazing, wonderful day. And God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.